What's up YouTube, this is Galactic God, and welcome to another episode of my Q&A series. I'm going to go ahead and start things off with a video question from Awesome Sauce.
Galactic God, you know who it is. It's your boy Awesome Sauce, and I'm here with a question for your Q&A. My question is that fact that I have never been to a YCS or a regional, and this upcoming year, I'm seriously considering going. What do you suggest first comers, including myself, bring to a YCS or national? Thanks, man.
I think probably the most impactful thing I remember from the first big event that I attended was just how grueling it can really be. I didn't bring any bottled water, I didn't bring any Powerade, I didn't bring any snacks, I didn't bring any potato chips, I didn't bring anything. Anything to munch on, anything to drink. And I remember when I got there, about, 4 or 5 duels in, I was like, my stomach was growling, I was dying of thirst, and I was like, man, when are we gonna take our lunch break or something? And the other players and duelists that were around me were started chuckling and laughing, and they're like, oh, this must be like your first event, huh? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, there is no break. There is no time to go get something to eat. There is no time to leave. It's just, 10 rounds of grueling, Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's no way to get around it without dropping. And I remember that being like the biggest shocking thing. I think at that point I was like, oh my gosh, we should just go. But, it's something that, if you've never been to, you really need to be prepared for. You got to bring, kind of food to eat. You got to bring, water, bottled water, or some kind of drink to keep yourself hydrated. It's not fun being there like all day, possibly into all night if you're doing well, with nothing to eat, nothing to drink. It's really makes the experience, worse than it needs to be because you're so famished from lack of food and drinks. So my advice would be to definitely bring some bottled waters and to bring some kind of snack that you can have throughout the day. Now the next question comes from Nick Starr, and he asks, how many Yu-Gi-Oh cards do you own? Well, a whole lot. I've never really counted them, or at least not counted them in a very, very long time. Last time I counted was quite a few years ago, maybe even like 5 or 6 years ago, and at that point, just the holographic cards I owned alone was, I think, close to 5,000 or something like that. But I mean, it's drastically increased since then. It's kind of crazy. I mean, it takes up a good chunk of our apartment. I mean, they're just everywhere, really. If you were to ask my girlfriend, she would say I own too many Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay, so the next question comes from 56 Pavilion, and he asks, what boxes do you recommend buying if you want to make a profit? Now, my thought on this is always been the same, and it's if you want to make a profit off the boxes or the cases that you buy in Yu-Gi-Oh, you really need to buy them when they first come out. I always try and get the boxes or the cases the day of or the day before that they actually come out. That's when you're going to be able to buy the boxes, usually at their least or lowest amount, unless it's a really old set that never sold. And it's going to be probably when the cards from the boxes are at their most valued. Now, it's true sometimes cards go up higher in value after they're released. Tour Guide is an example. When it was first released, it was like maybe $20, $30, $40 card, and then later, of course, it skyrocketed up to like, unknown heights. But that typically, though, for a set as a whole, if you're counting all the super rare cards, all the ultra rare cards, all the secret rare cards, most of those are going to be at their most highly valued right when the set first comes out. That's when people are really looking to build the new archetypes. That's when people are really looking to improve the old archetypes with the cards that are in it. Certain super rare cards that will probably later be in like the $1, $2, or $3 bin, you'll probably be able to sell for $4, $5, $6, or $7 at that time. Ultra rare cards that are going to end up being maybe $5, you could probably sell for 10 or 15 right when the set comes out. Same thing with secret rares. When the set comes out, they might be valued at 20, and then later they'll drop to like 5 or 10. So in my personal opinion, I always try and sell the cards that I want from the set right when the set comes out. I try and get the set right then. I try and sell the cards right then. That's how I feel you can make the best profit off of Yu-Gi-Oh! At least if you're buying a box or case just to sell. Tim Amazing One asks, is selling Yu-Gi-Oh! Single cards on eBay an easy way to make money and buy better cards for your Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck? And I guess the best kind of answer to that is probably not. When I first started selling cards up on eBay. They were really just kind of the extra cards that I had floating around. When you'd buy packs or tins, sometimes you pull cards you don't need. Maybe I already had a play set of Stardust. I didn't need the extra Stardust that came from the tin, and so I would sell it up on eBay or something like that. And that's usually how, you know, a lot of people start on eBay, and that's how I started. When I first started posting stuff, it was just extra cards that I needed to get rid of, and that's fine. You can make a little bit of profit doing that. But if you're just looking to buy random, you know, packs and just sell like a couple cards on eBay, I don't think it's a hugely profitable way to make money or to reinvest in the game. I found that, you know, before I started doing what I do now, buying them by the caseloads, that the best way to get certain cards that you needed for your deck was really just to trade. I mean, I used to use forum boards way back in the day. I used to go to, you know, either Pojo or Yu-Gi-Oh Realms, and I used to do an abnormally large amount of trading on those sites, and just kind of, you know, going from there, you know, trading cards I didn't need for cards I did need, and so forth and so on, kind of similar to how it's done now. Now a lot of people use actual YouTube to do their trading, or they just go to events or whatever. But I found trading to be the best way to improve your card pool and your decks when I first started. At least that's how I did it. Okay, Official Playmat asks, what do you like or dislike about Konami and the way they form their ban list or release certain cards? I think the one thing that I dislike about the ban list the most is that it's only twice a year, that's every 6 months. I think the thing I would prefer about the Forbidden Limited list is that if it was maybe every 4 months, I think that might kind of switch the game up, kind of make it not such a stale format sometimes, because, you know, usually about, you know, 3-4 months into it, people are ready for the change to happen. They're ready for, you know, certain cards to be put on the ban list or be taken off the ban list. You kind of have a better idea of what's working and what's not working in the meta. And I think, you know, you get that extra drag for that last 2 months of people just wishing the ban list or waiting for the ban list to happen so that, you know, certain decks can be fixed and not so OP. But that's my personal opinion. If I could change one thing, is that the ban list would happen every 4 months instead of 6. The Shadow King 419 asks, what is the one ban card you'd love to see brought back to 1? I think that would be Magician of Faith. I think there's really no more reason for Magician of Faith to be on the Forbidden list. You know, back in the day when, you know, face down or flip effects were really prevalent in the meta, I can understand. But I mean, there's so much monster removal now that, you know, I just can't see it being warranted on the ban list. I know there's a lot of good spell cards out there now with Monster Reborn and Dark Hole and Heavy Storm and all these, you know, really powerful cards, but, you know, to set a monster face down, you know, there's so much stuff, especially if you're playing against like an Insector deck or something like that. You know, they're just, you know, popping your stuff away anyways. You know, I think it's kind of a slower card now, and I think it could easily be brought back to 1. Gary Mod Mystic asks, what does your girlfriend look like? That's kind of a question I still get kind of quite a lot. If you guys are really interested in finding out what she looks like, you could try and research videos of me at the 100th YCS. So a lot of people were shooting different videos of me there, and you can kind of see her in the background of quite a few of them, just kind of moseying around. That'd be probably the best way to find her. As of right now, she's just not comfortable being in front of the camera for everyone to go ahead and see her. I know a lot of you YouTubers could probably relate, as a lot of people don't show themselves. It took me, I don't know, probably 6 months or something before I actually made a video, you know, of me in front of the camera, to kind of go ahead and do that. It's kind of, I guess, a little intimidating for some people at first. Cool Chris 11 asks, have you ever attended a YCS, WCS, or any other major Yu-Gi-Oh tournament? And the answer is yes, I've attended quite a few. Most recently, I went to the 100th YCS down in Long Beach. It's really cool. Got to meet a lot of different Yu-Gi tubers and other players, and it was a real neat experience. Back in the day, I used to go to a lot of tournaments, especially when I was a lot more competitive than I am now. I went to the Worlds that was in San Diego. I think it was back in 2007. Really neat. Got to meet a lot of foreign players. Got to meet a lot of people there. Got to see the last round up on this big, huge screen and everything. And it was a really cool overall experience. It was the format that you could have Snatch Steal, 3 Card Troopers, and 3 Ryzas. And machine dupes everywhere. And people would summon their Card Trooper. The next player would snatch over their Card Trooper, play machine dupe, bring out their 3 card troopers, and then sack their opponent's card trooper for a rise up, put their mirror force probably back on top of their deck, and then attack for game or some shit. It was a crazy format. It was real fun to watch though live and meet a lot of different people at it. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode's question and answers. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer in future episodes, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try and get to as many of them as I can. Also, if you guys would like, you can leave me a video response question, and I'll play it before I answer it in an upcoming episode. And I guess that's it for now. This is GalacticGod. Out.